Hello everyone, my name is Miss Ashley from Fibo Kids Art Academy and welcome to another amazing art class. For our project today, we're going to be drawing a picture inspired for Mother's Day of you with your mom. But we're also going to be learning about Mary Cassatt, a famous Impressionist painter. But before we start our project for our mothers, let's go ahead and read a children's book about Mary Cassatt. Mary Cassatt, extraordinary Impressionist painter. When Mary was a girl in Pennsylvania, she knew she'd be an artist one day. In 1860, proper girls weren't artists. They had polite hobbies, flower arranging, needlepoint, not Mary. Mary grew up tall and temperamental, the map of her fate etched in her mind. Just before her 16th birthday, she charged down Chestnut Street, raring to enroll in art school. Mary was first on the list. Mary studied hard at the academy and planned her next move. She had to travel abroad. A treasure trove of art awaited her in Paris. Her father grumbled, "Out of the question." Mary held her course. The Louvre Museum was Mary's classroom. She copied the old masters and dreamed of seeing her art in the celebrated show, the Salon. Impossible! Not for Mary. Mary pressed her nose against a gallery window, absorbing pastel drawings by Edgar Degas, a riot of color. She smiled and later said, "I saw art then as I wanted to see it." Mary swept jewel tones across her canvas. She rendered cropped angles sparkling light. The salon judges found her new work hasty, her palette harsh. Bah! What did they know? The great Degas rapped on Mary's studio door. "Join our band of independents," he proposed. "We paint as we please. We break the judges' rules." Mary beamed. "I begin to live," she said. Mary painted what she saw. She captured glimpses of life. Her long hands flew, dabbing brilliant tones, lighting bolts of white. Mary attended shows at the theater, her sketchbook in hand. She strolled through museums, her sister by her side. Mary's outspoken opinions echoed down aisles lined with exotic Asian art. Mary's family came to live with her in Paris. She painted her mother, her sister, reading, sewing, drinking tea. Her father might have been a better model if only he'd stay awake. Colors splashed across Mary's canvas. Canary yellow, radiant pink, vibrant blue, pastel strokes flurried over paper, sharp and blurry, straight and zigzag. Mary produced a multitude of prints, etchings, monotypes, working with Degas and on her own. For Mary, art was life, life was art. Mary celebrated mothers and their babies in her paintings. She sought and found truth. Now her art hangs in fine museums. She proved that women can be great artists too. So, because Mary Cassatt was famous for painting pictures of mother and their children, we're going to draw a picture of you with your mom. Now, if your mom or you don't look like that's okay. You can easily change it up the way that you want it. But let's go ahead and get started with our picture. I'm going to go ahead and put my sample aside so we can get ready for our practice draw. Make sure that your paper is vertical, which means up and down, and that you're also using that pencil, but I'll be using a Sharpie so you can see my lines. All right, we're going to be drawing two circles. The first one needs to be pretty large. And make sure it's on the left side of your paper, closer to the top. And it's big enough that I can fit my entire fist in there. So try your best to make your circle really big. Then we're going to draw another circle on the bottom right of the first circle. And you can see that they are touching each other. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a letter C and a backward C. This is for the ears. And then We'll draw a backward C on this head. Not on this one though, because it is being blocked. Now you can draw any kind of eyes that you want for your mom. I'm just going to draw some rainbows for closed eyes. I'm going to add eyelashes as well. And then I'll add 2 rainbows for the eyebrows. A little baby backward C for the nose. And then a smile. And if you'd like, you can add the top of a heart for the upper lip and a U-shaped curve for the bottom lip. Now, if you want to have your eyes closed as well, that's okay, but I do have another method of drawing eyes. What I do is I draw 2 rainbows, so it looks like those eyes are closed. However, I then add a U-shaped curve, or excuse me, a rainbow curve on the top with a circle inside. And then I add the eyebrows. All right, and then I add a small letter C for the nose and a smile. Now, if you need to re-watch these steps, you can always go back and watch them, or if you're still working on anything, you can press pause on the video. What we need to do is we're going to start by drawing a circle underneath the head. So we're going to draw that circle. That circle is partially hidden by the head, so make sure you have a circle right here. Because what we need to do is we need to draw the mother's shoulder going down to the hand. So we're going to start at the bottom of the circle for the head, curve out, down, and up. Then we continue this by curving down. All right, we're going to do something fairly similar for the other arm. So we're going to go underneath that hand and we're going to draw a curved line going up and over. And then I'm going to draw a curve for that sleeve. I'm going to go to the bottom left of the mom's head. Draw a curved line going down off to the bottom of the paper. Then I'm going to go to the bottom of the mom's hand and draw a curved line down. And then right in the middle, a straight line. All right, this was our practice draw. So if you want to take some time to maybe practice the kind of hair that you're going to draw, you can go ahead and press pause on the video. I'll be drawing some hair for my final draw, but make sure that your picture looks like this. We are going to be moving on to our final draw next. So we're going to be drawing this again, but just this next time we're going to be adding some hair. So go ahead, take out that fresh new piece of paper because we are going to be working on our final draw. Make sure that your paper is vertical, which means up and down. We're going to draw those 2 circles for the head again. Remember, they're big circles. I can fit one of my fists in there. So make sure you can fit about 2 of your fists in that circle. So 1 circle and another circle. Make sure that those circles are next to each other. I'm going to draw that letter C, backward C, and backward C again. All right, let's go ahead and work on those face details. Now, if you want to change the design of your mom and your eyes on your picture, that's totally okay. That's up to you. I'm just going to draw some closed eyes by drawing those rainbows with eyelashes. And then I'm going to draw 2 rainbows for the eyebrows. A little baby backward C for the nose. And a U-shaped curve for the mouth. And then the lips by drawing what looks like the top of a heart and a U-shaped curve. Great job. If you don't want to add those lips or eyelashes, that is okay. All right, I'm going to draw what looks like my kid has closed eyes. Now I can leave them like this if I want to, but I'm actually going to add some taller rainbows above. I'm going to draw some circles in so it looks like they're looking up at their mom. Draw those rainbows for the eyebrows. A baby letter C for the nose. And a smile. Again, you can change those eyes up if you would like to. Let's go ahead and draw the mom's hand by drawing that circle. And then I'm going to start at the bottom of the circle for the head. I'm going to bring that curve around back to the circle. Then in the space between both heads, I'm going to bring that curve up. I need to draw the kid's arm, so we're going to go underneath the hand, curve down and up, and another curved line for the sleeve. All right, we need to draw their backs, so we're going to go to the bottom left of the head, draw a curved line down. Then I'm going to go underneath the hand here, bring that curve down, and then a straight line in between. Now this is where it's up to you on what kind of hair you want to draw, because remember, you are drawing a picture of you and your mom, so you can change that hair up in any way that you want. You can also follow along with me if you'd like. Remember, you will have to do some erasing though. So for my mom, I'm going to draw a slanted line on the circle, curve to the ear, curve to the ear. Then I'm going to go to the top of the head, curve up, down, so it kind of looks like a letter S, and to the back. And then I'll curve around to the head. So if you notice, I still have this line from the top of the head. I no longer need to see that. So I'm going to take my eraser and erase this line right here. But again, make sure that you are drawing your mom's hair. So your mom might have long hair or short hair. I'm going to draw a girl with a ponytail. For my picture prior, I had my girl with long hair, but this time I'm going to be drawing her with a ponytail. But I'm going to do the same thing by drawing a slanted line, curve to the ear, and curve, curve, and curve. So I do need to make sure to erase those lines right there. Now, if you're drawing a boy, I will show you that step in just a moment. And then for the girl, I would draw a curve there for the hair tie, curve up and down, and back to the ear. Just make sure that you do erase those lines for the top of the head because you no longer need to see them. However, if you're drawing a boy, you might not need to erase that line because maybe you have some short spiky hair. You could start to the top of the head and do some zigzags. And you wouldn't need to erase this line right here. But if you do have longer hair that does cover the head, do it similar to what we did with the mom and girl. Just make sure to erase the top of that head. And as you can see right here, I did change my boy's eyes as well. So you can have a lot of fun with your creativity in your piece. After all, this is a picture of you and your mom. But when you are done with your picture, it should look something like this. So here is my picture with my mom and child. All right, I'm done with my pencil, so I no longer need that. And I'm going to go ahead and take out my Sharpie, and I'm going to outline all of my pencil lines. Remember, make sure that you erased that line that was the top of the head. I'm going to go ahead and outline my picture with my Sharpie. Take your time with this step. Make sure that that cap is on the back, and you're holding low and going slow. Again, follow those lines as close as you can. It's like a small bug is crawling on your paper. Now, as you can see right here, my hair went low, and so I made sure to erase my eyebrow right there. But depending on what hairstyle your mom has, you might have both eyebrows or maybe just one. I myself, my eyebrow is partially hidden by my hair. All right, I'm going around. And around here as well. Make sure all of your lines are connecting. Don't forget any line. I'm going to go back and add my face details to my girl. Also, if you have the same kind of eyes that I do, make sure that you outline that circle inside and fill it in. All right, and when you're done, don't forget to put that cap back on your Sharpie. You're going to take an eraser and erase any of those pencil lines that you may see. So I've got a few on my hair, so I'm just going through and erasing. And if you find that maybe some of those lines aren't connecting, like right there, go back and take care of it. You want to make sure that your lines are nice and neat. All right, let's go ahead and get started with coloring next. So we're going to go for realistic hair colors. Remember, Mary Cassatt she was an impressionist painter, so she made sure to paint them pretty realistically. So if your mom has brown hair or black hair or red hair or blonde hair, make sure you use a color that is similar to that color. So I'm going to use black hair for my mom. Now, in real life, my mom has really dark brown hair, but today I'm going to be using black. Now, I'm going to outline the hair. And I'll fill it in. Maybe your mom has pink hair or purple hair. Maybe she dyes it that color. So make sure to give her that hair color that she has. All right. And don't forget the other side of her hair too. Make sure you're getting as close as you can to those lines. It's always best to outline first before filling it in, just so you know what area to fill in. And long strokes, top to bottom. And if it's also helpful, you can turn your paper around to fill in some of those areas. I find it super helpful if I do that. Just make sure you are filling in that hair with long strokes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my girl's hair. Now she also has a ponytail holder, so you can use any color for that. I'm gonna have my girl have brown hair. So I'm gonna take my brown, make sure that cap is on the back. Outline and fill in. Outline her ponytail. And fill it in. All right, I'm gonna give her a pink hair tie. All right, for that shirt, you can use any colors you want. Maybe you want to use your mom's favorite color for her shirt. You can use any color that you would like. I'm gonna go for a light blue. So you can use either Mr. Sketch markers, Crayola markers, whatever markers you have. But I am going to be using light blue. Blue is my mom's favorite color. But maybe your mom's favorite color is red or yellow. So I'm making sure to outline and fill in. This is her hand, so make sure you don't fill in her hand because hopefully she doesn't have blue hands. We'll be coloring that with chalk pastel. I'm going to be using those long strokes, top to bottom. Now, if you want to change the sleeves up if you want, maybe she's wearing a baseball tee, you can change the sleeve color if you want. However, I'm just going to leave it blue. That's up to you. Now, I recommend not going through and adding stripes with the different markers. We're actually going to be adding a pattern on our picture with their shirt. So I recommend just sticking with 1 or 2 colors. And if you're still maybe filling in that hair or you're just now starting on your mom's shirt, you can always press pause on the video. All right, almost done filling in my mom's shirt. All right, and before I work on the girl, I'm gonna make sure to go in and fill in my mom's lips by taking either any shade of red or pink, or maybe your mom does wear purple lipstick. Go ahead and choose any color that works best for your mom. Now I'm gonna grab a pink. I have this nice hot pink right here. And I'm gonna fill in my girl's shirt. Again, you can use more than 1 color, but just make sure you're not using too many colors for stripes or tie-dye, because we are going to be using oil pastel for some patterns. All right, and I'm just using long strokes, top to bottom. And there we go. Right, if you're still working on any area in marker, you can always press pause on the video, but I'm going to go ahead and put my markers aside and take out my oil pastels next. So let me just make sure to close this up, put this away, and I'm going to take out my oil pastels. Whether you have the large or small set, doesn't matter. Just go ahead and grab those oil pastels. We're first going to be adding hair lines into our picture. So depending on what type of hair color that you have, you may need to use a different color. So for example, I have a blonde girl right here. I decided to use a darker yellow or an orange for those strands of hair. I also use dark brown for my brunette mom. However, it's kind of hard to see black oil pastel on black hair. So you might need to grab either a gray or a white. And so you want to make sure you add those lines. Going up, over to add those lines. Now for my girl right here, she's got brown hair and her hair is up in a ponytail. So I'm going to make sure that those lines go up because her hair is pulled back. And then her hair goes along and down like so. All right. If it's hard to see maybe that brown, you can easily take black as well and add some more lines. Depends on what oil pastel or markers you use. All right, we're now going to be adding some patterns on our outfits. Maybe your mom likes to wear stripes, or maybe she likes to wear like a floral pattern, which are flowers, or maybe you want to just show your love so much for your mom that you want to draw hearts on their outfit. It's totally up to you. I want you to get creative with those patterns. But for my mom, I'm going to be drawing some simple flower shapes. I'll do both white and blue. I would choose no more than 3 colors for that pattern. I'm just going to go in and add those patterns. All right, so there's some white ones. I'm going to add some blue as well. So I'll go for this blue. I'm going to rip off that wrapper for a bit. Now I'm going to add some more flowers. And you can have more than 4 petals for your flowers. Maybe you want to draw some roses. Maybe you want like a really big pattern. That's up to you. What does your mom wear? What's her favorite outfit to wear? All right, we're going to do the same thing for you on your picture. You can maybe add some stripes, or maybe you want to add some type of design. I'm just going to add some red stripes to my outfit. So make sure you pick a color that you can really see and add that pattern. All right, keep going with that pattern. If you're still working on anything else on your picture, you can always press pause. We are going to be adding some shading to our picture. This can get a little bit tricky, so I recommend watching first and then pausing the video. We're first going to add some shading to our mom's outfit. Take a close look at what color she's wearing. So my mom is wearing blue. I want to grab a type of blue that will be good for shading. So I'm going to take a darker blue and I'm going to just use short, hard strokes to fill in underneath her head and around here. Then I'm going to go along the back of her arm and underneath here. So that way it shows there's shading to the picture. We do need to do the same thing for the girl. So since my girl's wearing pink, I can find either a darker pink or a red. I'm going to choose red. And I am going to add shading underneath her arm right here. And around the mom's hand on her back. And also right here. So there we have that shading. If you need to pause the video just to see where needs to be shaded, go ahead and do so. But that is actually our last step with our oil pastels. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my chalk pastels next. I'm going to go ahead and put my set away and take out my chalk pastels. Now, depending on what nationality you are, you may have darker skin or lighter skin. You can choose any sort of tan or brown that works best for you and your mom. So I have all sorts of different shades right here of tan and brown. I'm going to go with this tan right here. And we're not going to fill in the faces. We're actually going to just take our chalk pastel and go around the head and the ears. And same with the girl's head, the ears, mom's hand, and your hand. So you can see I didn't fill it in. Depending on if it's too light, you may need to go back and fill it in a little bit more. Right now though, let's just take one finger and we're going to go over and just follow along. And then once you've done that, then you can go back in and blend the face. Now, depending on if your mom or you have a darker skin tone, then you can go in and pinch and pull. So I wanted this face to be just a little bit darker. So make sure you don't add too much because you don't want too much dust to get onto the outfits, because that chalk pastel will get on the oil pastel if you're not careful. So be extra careful as you are blending the face and the hands. Also, one extra thing, this is an optional step you don't have to do, but what I am going to do is I'm going to take either a shade of red or pink, and I'm going to add some blush to the cheeks. Now, if you don't want it on yours, that's okay. You can always put it on your mom's cheeks. And I just use a tiny bit. And then I'm going to take one finger and blend in a circular motion. And there we have our mom and child. Now, Mary Cassatt was famous for her impressionist pieces, which she used those like ragged and harsh brush strokes. So we want to try our best to imitate that in our background. Make sure as you are choosing your colors that you're using analogous colors. Analogous colors are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So yellow and orange are next to each other on the color wheel. So I used both yellows and oranges. Green and blue are next to each other on the color wheel, so I used green and blue for that background. Today, I'm going to be going for yellow and orange. So I have my yellow right here. And what you want to do is you want to hold your chalk pastel like a crayon. And you just want to pinch and pull on your background. You want to make sure that you're not filling in your entire background. You still want to see some white from the paper. All right, so I've added those lines. Then, since orange is next to yellow on the color wheel, I'm going to take that orange. So if you notice my set right here, that's right here to there is the order of the rainbow or the color wheel. So again, you want to make sure that you're picking colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Those are analogous colors. All right, and once you've added enough of that other color, you're then going to put that away. You're going to take 2 fingers and you're going to blend your background. So that way we've got that nice brush stroke looking effect that Mary Cassatt had done in her pictures. Now make sure as you are blending, try your best to avoid going right over your mom and you, just because some of that chalk pastel will get on the oil pastel if you're not careful. But make sure to try and get really close. So I'm taking 1 finger and blending close to my people. And blend, so making sure you don't see any of that white paper in the background. But there is our picture inspired by the Impressionist artist Mary Cassatt, who was famous for painting everyday life, especially pictures of women with children. So there is our picture. Make sure to give this to your mom because I know for a fact that she would love it a lot. And also make sure to clean up your area when you're done. Put away your art supplies, take a wet wipe, or go wash your hands and clean your table. But this is it for our project. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had a lot of fun learning about Mary Cassatt. Please post your pictures online. We would love to see them on our Fibo Village page on Facebook. So also have a very happy Mother's Day. Thank you to all those mothers out there and all the hard work that they do. And we will see you next time at Fibo Kids Art Academy. Bye.